Hi everyone, this is Randall with Carter Hill Honeybees, and in today's slideshow I want to share with you some photographs of an outyard that was hit by an EF3 tornado back on April the 27th, 2011. Now this picture right here is from most likely the middle or latter part of May of 2009. So this is basically what I'm using to reference as a before picture. Now, even though in this picture right here it shows there's only 5 colonies there, there was actually 6 at the time that the tornado hit. And just kind of make a mental note of the trees and stuff behind it there. Once we get to the pictures after the tornado, the scenery is dramatically different. And here's kind of a side angle of it. And this is right after I had weed eated around the hives, whatever. It was a nice yard, beautiful yard. So now we'll move forward to the damage pictures. So here's the first picture of damage. This is April the 28th, 2011, one day after the tornado come through. So immediately to the right of this picture, there was 3 homes destroyed, including the property owner's home. So the National Weather Service rated the tornado in this general area to be an EF3 with estimated winds of 155 miles per hour. Now ironically, if you look closely, kind of the tallest, straightest tree there that's got plastic kind of attached to the trunk, about what looked like about 6 foot off the ground. If you'll kind of look up that tree and to the right a little bit, you'll see a darkness in that tree kind of back in the tree line there. And that's actually a cluster of bees. And I wound up capturing 3, maybe 4 different clusters of bees that day and found some equipment. I probably lost about a little over half to 2/3 of my equipment. So I managed to get all those clusters back together into one box, and I captured those bees, and I waited a couple of weeks, come back, and they was queenless. And then I ordered a queen, got it in, put a couple frames of cap brood in there, and introduced the queen, and the colony took off and went on. I actually made honey off of it that year. So here's a different angle and perspective, and those are 12-inch concrete blocks there. Notice how they pretty much stayed in place. That one there kind of got tumbled back. But all the tornado come basically from the direction that we're facing right here. And almost all the equipment was pulled back into the woods right there. I did find a couple of medium supers about 200 yards or so to the right of this off in the woods. Some of it I never did see again. I did recover quite a bit of it. And then now we'll get into some pictures of some of the equipment I recovered. At that time in my beekeeping career, I was assembling all my frames and I was using wax foundation exclusively. So right there you can see a piece of wax foundation pulled up into a tree right there in a frame. And here's another picture of some equipment there. It got pulled back into the woods there. A lot of that was privet hedge in behind it, and that's probably what that is right there. Right here's a medium super with foundation. I think they had just started drawing it pretty good. The nectar flow was just starting at that time, but it got ripped off, and just notice how it just pulled all those frames out, even though they was propolized in, and kind of left that one there. And you'll notice there's a decent amount of bees there, and I do, if I remember correctly, I believe I did get, that was one of the 4 clusters of bees right there. Altogether, when I got all the clusters, there was probably about 4 or 5 pounds of bees that I wound up putting in one colony together. Right here's an interesting picture. Most of the stems you see right there is privet hedge, but how those medium frames got pulled in there. And notice the debris and the freshly drawn wax there. It kind of reminds you if you took a bunch of leaves and grass and put it in a blender, blended it up and just shot it at very high speeds at those combs. It's just almost a sandblasting like effect. Really impressive to take leaves and do that right there. So here's another kind of interesting picture. You can see how some of the debris got scattered there. Notice that tree kind of laying flat. Now probably 2 to 3 weeks prior to this, that was totally covered with honeysuckle vines, and there was I actually caught a swarm off of that, and it was in that position at that time. And right there's some medium frames pulled into that privet hedge right there, and just look how it's laid down. And just amazing to me how those frames got pulled in there like that. So the remaining pictures pretty much are going to be after I gathered up and salvaged all the equipment I could. So I brought it home and just set it out here and just made some pictures of it. So what you're seeing here, the green piece of board right there, if you've been beekeeping a long time, some of you may remember back in the early to mid 2000s, Walter T. Kelly made this inner cover like this. It was real light wood. I don't know what kind of wood it was, but it come in 3 pieces, and then them strips held it together. But anyway, you can see right here, they didn't hold up too well to the intense winds either. If I remember correctly, I didn't get a single one of those intact. Also, from that time, Walter T. Kelly made these 2x4 screen bottom boards that had the removable. It had 2 slots. You could remove the screen, and you can see it in that 2x4 in the picture. But you could remove the screen bottom board. It would slide in and out, and also a piece of the corrugated cardboard would slide in and out the bottom to close it off in the winter. And as you can see, those didn't fare too well in the intense winds either. Right there's one of the boxes from my first year beekeeping that I lost. Obviously you can see it's number 7 there, but just notice how the debris is just plastered to the front of it. So it was probably facing directly into the wind as the tornado come directly over where they were sitting. I glue all the frames and the boxes I build, and just look how that's exactly how I found that box in that condition right there. I don't know exactly what caused it to be that way, if a tree fell on it or what, but it took a little bit of force to do that right there, whatever done it. There's another example of what I was talking about a little bit earlier. It looks like you took all those leaves and debris and just put it in a blender and then just shot it at high speed at that wax foundation, and you can see where I wired it and stuff. I probably did 1,500 of those frames back then before I converted over to plastic. And there it is, some still shots I made back in 2011 of my bee yard that got hit by an EF3 tornado with estimated winds of 155 miles per hour. The tornado did pass directly over the colonies. As you can see, I did get a lot of the equipment back. Some of it was quite a bit damaged, but I walked around probably a good hour and a half, 2 hours in the woods all around there best I could, but there was quite a bit of the equipment I never found. If you've ever wondered how honeybee hives would stand up to a tornado, and this tornado was definitely a very strong tornado. It totally destroyed 3 people's homes just a couple hundred yards away. Well, anyway, I appreciate you for joining me for this slideshow today. Never stop learning. We'll catch you next time.